Hey guys, so I'm gonna show you how to create a basic program in processing. So first, you should already have the processing programming environment. Go to the processing folder, open up processing. This is the programming environment. There are two buttons in the programming environment, the run button and the stop button. There will be more buttons that appear later as I show you how to use the debug feature, which is this little icon here. But for now, to get a basic sketch running, basic program running, you just need to open up the program and begin typing. So the basic, so in processing, a basic program is called a sketch. You can see the name of the sketch here. That's the default name of the sketch. A sketch contains code, which is what we'll be typing. All sketches contain the following lines of code. These lines of code are called function. So you have void setup, and I'm sorry, not void setup. Actually, no, it might be void setup. Void draw. I think that's all that's needed. This is the basic outline of a program. Okay, so after you've written the program, you need to save the program onto your computer. So to do that, you click File, Save As, or just hit Control S. Choose a place to download or to save the program. Just save it to the desktop for now, and give the sketch a name. Give the program file name. I'm gonna call this program first, or program, default program, or min t. So once you have the program saved, you can click Run. This firewall thing might appear. If that happens, just click Allow Access. And if you don't receive any errors, the program should run and this little window should pop up. This little window that pops up is a default window from processing that says, hey, I'm supposed to draw something, but you didn't. There's nothing in the code. There's no instruction, so by default, I'm just going to show the square. But you just close that. So that's if the program runs successfully, that little box pops up. Now, it's your job to fill the program with instructions, computer instructions. A basic instruction is I think earlier we talked about declarations. So computers have data types. That means computers need to represent data, and it needs to know about the type of data that exists in a program. So one way to tell the computer that you're using a particular data is to make a declaration. So here I'm going to declare a variable that is of the integer type, and it's going to be called, I'll call it x for now. So this line of statement is called a declaration. This is the name. All declarations look the same. So here's another declaration. Some other variable equals 0. So all declarations look the same. It consists of a name, so the name for the variable. In this case, the variable name is x. In this case, in line 2, the variable name is some other variable. And the words int, the word int here indicates to the computer that some other variable it has the type integer, so it stores some integer, and as you can probably remember, an integer is a number that is either 0, some positive whole value or some negative whole values. So it can be, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. What it can't be is a decimal number, so it can't be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or I'm sorry, it can't be 1.5, 2.5, whatever. Integers are, so if you have a number and you assign it to an integer, this is what it would look like. So here, I'm assigning the number 0 to the integer variable x. Here, I'm assigning the integer 0 to the variable some other variable. I'll call it anything I want. Because I can call it anything I want, I'll just rename that because that's a little bit weird for a variable name. I'll call that variable y. And I'm gonna, instead of 0, I'm gonna give it a initial value of 100. So now one of the things that we can do with variables is we can print them out. So we can tell the computer to print out to us the value of that variable. To do that, you need to do what's called calling a function. Void setup is an example of a function. Void draw is also an example of a function. The function that we're going to use that you need to put in between these two brackets is called print. And what print does is it just prints whatever you put inside the parentheses. And notice the semicolon here. So all statements, including the declarations, need to end with a semicolon. So this call to the print function can take in variables. For instance, it can take in the variable x. And the computer runs by running through these lines of code sequentially. And when it gets to void setup, it's going to jump inside these what's in between the parentheses, and it's going to run whatever is inside the parentheses. So it's going to run this function printx. What printx does is it prints out the value, whatever the value of x is at the time, which is currently 0. So it's going to print out 0. So if I save, Control S or File, Save, and after I save, I press Run. It's going to run, this box is going to appear, it always appears, and some stuff is going to be printed out, 0. And that makes sense because x is currently 0. If I do something like x plus 1, what's going to happen first is everything inside the parentheses gets solved first. So before the printing is done, the value of x is 0 and 1 is added to that value. So after we evaluate the inside of the parentheses, the thing that gets passed to this function print is 1. So what this print function does is it's going to print out 1 now. We can see that by first saving, because we modified the program, and then running again. See, now it's 1. You can see that down here. That's the output. This is called the terminal window, and this is where your output goes when you print something. I think it's also called the console window. It's very similar to the terminal window in C9. You can scroll up and down here. You can see the errors. So if you do something like, if you forget the semicolon, for instance, it might tell you here. It might not. Anyways, just save, run, and here's your first error. If you forget a semicolon, the console window is where you'll look to find out what's going on. You can see here the error is syntax error, maybe a missing semicolon. So it's telling you that there might be a missing semicolon here somewhere. Expecting semi found bracket. So here, what's being said by the compiler is that the program is expecting a semicolon somewhere, but instead it found this bracket. That's saying that our processing is saying that okay, it's expecting a semicolon before this little bracket. So you just gotta look back to your code and make sure that you fix that problem. Once you do, the code will run okay. And as you program, you'll encounter many different problems, different errors, and programmers do this all the time. They solve their own errors. If not, they Google it. And so you might see me Google some of the errors that I encounter if I don't know how to resolve it at that time. But anyways, let's move on. So let's instead of printing x+1, let's print something like words. Let's print out words. So I'm gonna type the print function again, and one of the things that the print functions can also do is print out sentences. So it can print something out like it can print sentences if you include the quotes inside the parentheses, and if you type a message inside the parentheses. So I'm going to type hello class here. And what it's going to do is, once the program starts, it's going to print out x+1. X is currently 0, so it's going to print out 1. And then immediately afterwards, it's going to print out hello class. You'll see that down here in the console window. File, save, run. And there you go. It does, so you could sort of see that it does exactly what you tell it to do. It's going to print out 1. That line 7 is where it's going to is an instruction that tells the computer to print out 1, and that's the result here. Print out 1, and then immediately afterwards, it's going to run hello class, and this instruction tells the computer to print hello class where it left off. So after it left off printing 1, so immediately afterwards, it's going to print out hello class. And notice here that there's no space between the 1 and the H in the hello class. That's because the computer does exactly what you tell it to do. If you don't tell it to put a space there, it will not put a space there. So if you want a space between the 1 and the H, you need to put a space in the sentence. In this sentence, everything enclosed in a quotation mark is called a string. So this is a string. It contains the space, the letter H, E, L, L, O, space, class. Right, let's print out the string here. And there you go, 1 hello class. Another thing that you can do is print hello class and then a number. So you do that by using the plus operator. X. Let's print out Y this time. There you go. So we know that line 7 will print out this 1, line 8 will print out this space and this hello class. Line 9 is an instruction that's very similar to line 8, but instead, in addition to printing hello class, this string here, this plus operator instructs the print operation to also print the variable y, which is 100. And that's what you see here. And notice that it does so immediately after the end of the string. So it doesn't include an extra space. Although if we want to put an extra space, we have to do it ourselves. Okay. So there you go. So now after this instruction runs, we can instruct the so if you're writing a paragraph, for instance, it might be useful to put a new line immediately after hello class. So I'm just going to delete this code here. I'm just going to create a new string. I'm going to have it print hello class, my name is Minh. And I'm going to put end quotes there, parentheses, semicolon. And at this point, if I print out hello, how are you? How are you? You're going to see that it prints immediately after the semicolon. So file save, run. There you go. Hello class, my name is Minh, how are you? Let's say I don't want the how are you string to be printed immediately after the exclamation mark. What I can do is use a different function called println. And what println does is that immediately where you left off with your printing, it's going to skip a line and it's going to move down the line. It's going to move down the next line, and then it's going to continue to print. So what you'll see now is instead of this long string with the how are you attached to the end of the hello class, my name is Minh, what you'll see is hello class, my name is Minh, and then you'll see the computer skipping a line and then printing out how are you. So file save, run, and there you have it. Oh, maybe not. What's going on? I don't think I saved. Let me try something real quick. Okay. Okay, there we go. So here I was expecting the print line to print hello, how are you on the next line, but I guess print line puts it moves the line after you've entered the message. So if I type in something now like print hi, this hi will be put right at the end of that question mark. Nope. Okay. I apologize. It's been a while since I've used the print line function, but it seems like the print line moves the printing to the next line. And so if you have print line here, it's going to know to print this on its own separate line, and that anything that gets printed afterwards will be put on another line. So if I print, hi here, the hi will be put on the next line. Yep. Whereas if I put print here, print line here, this line's going to be printed on its own, but you can imagine that after that line's been printed, it's not going to know to move to the next line because this is a print statement, it's not a print line statement, so it's going to continue on. So we should see hello class, my name is Minh, and then we'll see hi immediately afterwards, like that. And it only prints, and that the next time we print something, it's going to move this new message to the next line. So it's going to print out hi, and then new message, you'll see new message on the line underneath it. Yeah. There you go. So if you want to print this on its own line, we have to type print line, and then we can type out a new message. Maybe a smiley face here at the end. I'm going to put a space here so that you can see the smiley face here. That space is kind of crucial, otherwise it'll look kind of weird. So I'm modifying my code, file save. You have to save every time you change your code. That's just how it is. There you go. See, it looks kind of weird there. And this is basically how you print. If you click the play button, the run button, one too many times, it'll run the program as many times as you click it. So if I click it 3 times very quickly, you'll see this program run 3 times. Hello class, my name is Minh, this is my message, so on. And so it's important just to, if it's not immediately running, just wait a couple seconds. Or click stop first. And you'll have that gray box, as many gray boxes as the number of times that you click. So I click that 3 times. You'll see 3 gray boxes up here. You got to delete them one at a time. So to slow down. All right. So that's the basic of setting up a sketch in processing.